What's going on, guys? This is Jacob with Bulldog Analytics, and today I want to talk through how you can create a filter context call out or some sort of indication as to what filters have been applied on the page. Now, I think this is really powerful, especially when you're using hidden filter panes. If you're not familiar with hidden filter panes, we'll put together a video soon, but basically it's when you leverage bookmarks to kind of save real estate on your report page, and you can break out the filters, you can apply it, and then you can hide the filters again. So sometimes this is done and there's no indication on the page as to what filters have just been applied. And I think that can oftentimes lead to misleading understandings of the results being displayed. And I think it's really important to have this call out, basically just a textual output that says filters applied, and then it just gives a quick summary of what filters or slicers have been applied. So let's go ahead and walk through how to do this. We're going to be leveraging a technique in DAX Studio. So that's a third-party external tool. It's really useful if you're not familiar with it. We'll quickly walk through how to download that, and this should be a quick and easy tip and trick for you to employ in your reporting. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so here we've got our example report. Let me click back over to the internet browser. So if you don't have DAX Studio, it's daxstudio.org. This is a great tool for anything DAX related in Power BI. And it works very well in the desktop application. Just download this green option here, restart your desktop app, and it'll be embedded in your external tools ribbon. Now, this is the report I'm working with today, just an example report I've put together. And you'll see I've got a filter pane here along the left-hand side, not hidden, but I still think this approach is very beneficial whenever filters are being applied, especially multiple. And so we're gonna walk through how to do this. So basically the idea is whatever filters I select here, or anywhere for that matter, if it's in the filter pane over here, those would get captured in like a textual output that notates applied filters down here at the bottom. So like I said, we're going to use DAX Studios to get this started. Basically, this dump measure is leveraging the isFiltered function and selected value. So let's go ahead and launch DAX Studio here. All right, sometimes it loads and it shows that it's not connected to anything, but you just got to give it a second, and there it goes. We're now connected to my report here, and this is all the underlying data. Now we can just click anywhere in this data, right click, and the top two options are define filter dump measure or define filter dump measure all tables. Well, I want to basically take into account all tables. So we're going to select that option, and it's going to automatically create this huge DAX query, which basically defines a measure. And what it's doing is it's basically looking to see every field in your model, whether it's filtered or not, and then it's going to include it in that filter output. So it might be a little bit overkill, but the whole point is that it is supposed to be kind of comprehensive in case anything is applied, so that it captures it in that textual output. So we're going to go copy that and come into DAX query. I'm going to clear out when I was doing this earlier, and we're going to paste it in here. Control V. And you'll see it's super long. It's over 3,000 rows of code, and most of this is not going to be needed. But again, we're just kind of walking through this process, getting started. So now that this is in here, let's go ahead and I'm going to go to the top because I already have a measure in here named dump filters. So we're going to change the measure name to dump filters 2, and I want this to be defined in my custom measures table. All right, let's go ahead and click Update Model with Changes. Click Update Model. And now you'll see over here in the Custom Measures table that there is now a Dump Filters 2 measure. Now, let's click into that from the Canvas view. Most of this is going to be kind of overkill. We don't need over 3,000 lines of DAX code calculating every single field in our model. At least I don't. So I know that my filters are going to be on category. You'll see them over here: product, customer, suppliers, shipper, and GL date. So that's 6 measures, or 6 filters, excuse me. And so I'm going to limit these little sections of code down to 6 sections, because essentially each one of these is capturing a different field in our model. So despite what the code callout says, let's just limit this down to 6. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm just going to delete everything else. All right, now that we've got it down to 6 sections here, we're going to change the code a little bit. So like I said, I want to capture these slicers right here. So we're going to replace the elements in each section with the correlating field for the slicers over here. So this first one, right now it's on account number. I want to replace account number with category. Now you'll see that it calls out account number in several different spots. The way to do all this at once so we don't have to change it one by one is do Control-Shift-L, and it'll select all the text that matches what you have highlighted. And then what's cool is that now when I start typing, it'll replace everything that you have highlighted there. So the IntelliSense takes a little bit to pick up here, but I've got categories, and now I want to do category. It looks like it missed one here. And then the next one is product. Again, Control-Shift-L, products, and we're going to do product description 1. All right, I've gone through, I've made sure everything is up to date with the filters I have in place. So let's go ahead and drag this into our canvas here. Let's see what outputs. All right, currently nothing, but it's also currently showing up as a clustered column chart. Sometimes it randomly chooses one based on when you drop it in like that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that to the new card, and you'll see it's just a blank right now. Well, that makes sense because we haven't selected any filters. So let's go ahead and go through here and select a couple. So we'll do federal shipping for the shipper. Up here we'll do cleaning and sanitary supplies, and then I'll do Charmin essentials. Now you'll see nothing's popping out, and that's because, again, sometimes it does weird things. It stuck it in the tooltip over here, so I'm going to drag that up to data, and we'll see now that we have some populating data. Let's change this callout value to 10 so we can kind of start to see everything. And now we're starting to, look pretty good. Now you'll see that it kind of runs off the page there, and one thing I could do is I could do a text wrap. I don't really love how this outputs, and we'll talk about that here in a second. I'm going to turn off the label, but let's look at some of this, because I don't really want it to show the table and the field name. I want to be able to clean this up a little bit. So when we start to dig into the actual DAX code, we'll start to kind of be able to manipulate this how we want. So you'll see that basically the first step in the if statement is determining whether that field is filtered or not. And if it does, then it defines all these variables, including the text output variable, which is variable X here. And it currently starts it out with like the table and field, and I just want to have the field like this, and then like over here I don't care about product description. I really just want it to show like product. Down here I just want to show customer, down here supplier, and then down here we'll just do date. Oh, and then we've got one more, shipper. So we can check that and kind of look at how that looks. So we're starting to look a little bit better. One other thing that I like is I think it's important that we define what this text output is. We know what it is, but we need to notate it. So this is applied filters, colon, space, close parentheses, ampersand, because this is all basically just textual outputs that are getting concatenated together. So we're going to go ahead and add that at the top. Now, again, I don't like how this is wrapped like this. I'm going to turn off text wrap. And right now everything is in view. If I were to apply one more though, let's see, maybe customer, we would just want to see Acme Industries numbers. You'll see that it runs off the end there, and based on just kind of out of the box how you would get this to appear like this, where it wraps it properly, it unfortunately kind of limits you. So a quick little trick is for this new card visual, instead of having dump filters as your data point, we're going to drop in blank, and this will make sense here in a second. So it currently appears as blank. For the call out values, we're actually going to turn that off, but we want to drop it down to blank so that we can then turn around and we can just break out this reference label, drop down the selected series to blank, and then we're going to add blank as the label again. I know this seems kind of crazy, but this basically is all getting us down to this detail option, which we have a lot more control over how it's formatted, at least based on what we're trying to do. So Again, I need to drop this down to this blank field. We're going to drop in this new dump filters 2 as the detail, and you'll see that we're starting to get there. It wraps properly now. So I need to turn off the value for the blank aspect. I need to come in here and I need to override this, just clear it out. And then I need to come down to reference labels, and I need to turn off title. And now we're starting to kind of come together here. And you'll still kind of see there's this weird divider. So let's find what's driving that. Well, let's go under reference label. Let's go select all series. And we've got this divider. And once we turn that off, it's starting to look pretty good. So let me resize that a little bit. It looks like there's some padding in place. And I also want to shrink the value down a little bit for my reference label. So for, the detail aspect of the reference label, we'll drop that down to 10. Now I'm going to search pad up here because there's obviously some padding in place. So let's do wide. There's a narrow. And then up here, we'll do all this to 0. All right, we're starting to look pretty good here. If I click out, you'll still see there's like a border around it. So let's turn that border off. I guess it's here in the main card section. So we'll go down to card, we'll turn off background and border. And also here, we'll look at the padding, go to custom. Let's just go ahead and change all that to 0, just so we're not limited at all. And now we're pretty good. And I know there's like this space up at the top, and I could probably find in the settings where that's what's causing that, but because we've turned off the background, I can kind of just size this up over the visual above it. And now it shows all of the applied filters. Now there's no delimiter, and so that's something we can go back into the code here, and you'll again see that this variable is kind of the output for the code aspect of that piece. So at the very end, let's add like a pipe in the middle of this for each one. We'll click check mark. And now you'll see that that creates like a nice separation between each. You could do a comma if you want. It really, doesn't matter, but that's just something to call out. All right, now these are all pretty straightforward drop downs, but just for fun as like an extra piece of information here. So maybe we want to change this to like 2024. And so I tab that over. Now you'll see the date equals 12/29, 12/31, 12/30, ... And then it shows 366 items selected. So that is actually a good call out to this like weird max variable that we have going on. So we're going to change the date because it's a between function, but that also indicates or shows us something else at play here, which is this whole if variable r is greater than max filters, which is 3, then show this like ... So basically, anytime more than 3 items are selected, it's not going to list them all out. And I don't necessarily love that, but I get that it could create a lot of busyness in our applied filter steps. So we're going to leave it, but we're going to come down here and we're going to change how this GL date, kind of how it outputs. So what I'm going to change is I'm going to come down here and say dates between, and instead of it equals, I'm going to do a colon. And then from here, let's clear out like all this stuff. I do want to put, so basically I want to say dates between the min selected and the max selected. So, and then let's do min GL date. And let's just real quick see how this outputs for the applied filter. So down here, you'll see dates between 1/1/24. And so basically it's recognizing, because this is not part of any other visual, so there's no visual level like context or anything like that. It's just looking at the context of this whole page, which is set by this filter right here, assuming there's no other GL date filters in the filter range. So I like how that looks. And so we're going to do, with the dates between, we're going to do max geo date. All right, what is it not liking here? So we've got dates between and min date and that. Oh, we forgot an ampersand right here. All right, so let's do check. And now we can see down there it says dates between that, which is great. And so if I were to change this to whatever, now that's going to be that bottom part of my dates between filter. So anyways, a quick tip here. This is a great thing. Another trick I learned from, I was watching a Power BI Park video. Maybe we want to make some of this pop a little bit more. Well, there's this great website out there that he shared, and it's called Yay Text. And basically, because you can't locally edit the Unicode, this Yay Text allows you to input words and then copy and paste the Unicode into your DAX code. So for example, maybe I want to make the applied filters call out pop a little bit more, so I can paste any of these. I like this one right here, and I can go into my dump filter measures, and I can paste it right here to where it bolds it. Let me delete out whatever that is. You'll see that it kind of makes it pop a little bit more, and so you can really do that with any of this, or you can like I'm gonna delete this out real quick. You can like italicize it. So for example, if I come back here and I say equals, so we've got like an italicized version of it. So I can come in here and I can say category equals check, and you could go down and do that for each one, and you can see how it kind of just starts to like visually enhance the overall kind of experience down here. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to go through and finish this out. I just wanted to call that as a resource because with these applied filters, you know, the whole point is to create context for the end user, and so any way that we can make that easier so that they're understanding it, we need to do that. So anyways, hopefully this was a quick tip trick. Hopefully you can employ this in your reporting going forward. And that's all I got. I hope I see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.